All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. How is everybody doing tonight? Sorry for the little bit of a delay. I am rolling solo tonight. It is a one-man band over here. So I guess my question is on the college football side of things, who is going to win the Heisman Trophy? Put that in the comments. I'll be interested to see your comments for tonight. Just busting out a new hat for tonight and the script A just to infuriate some people. So, what is going on in college football? One of the things that I seen last night as I was peeling through some things, Vontez Burfict, going to be a defensive analyst at UNLV with Dan Mullen. So that's something to be looking at. Shador Sanders is debuting tonight. From what I've seen of that, it looks pretty good. I think there's a lot of people that are excited. Hold on one sec. Got to get that thing a rolling. But I've got a cricket in here. I don't know where it is at. I apologize. We're just going to have to deal with that once. Yeah, it's rolling now. But anyway, we'll get into the show. Sorry about that. I apologize. But with that being said, we will get to it. First things first, the first order of business that we're going to add here is Roger Goodell is looking at potentially having a college football red zone package. I don't know how well that is going to fly with the way the TV rights are, because I could see it just being an all SEC, but how much do this is unbelievable. But how much do the SEC shows overlap? One second. Sorry about that, everybody. Hopefully that takes care of the problem. Probably not, knowing my luck. But the red zone package for the NFL could possibly be coming to college football. What are your guys' thoughts on that? You got to get Fox to play ball. You got to get all the various other TV providers to play ball. Um, so I would think CBS, and I think they could all get on the same page. Maybe Fox will launch their own thing, but they can't call it Red Zone. Whenever you don't have the Sunday ticket, the Red Zone is one of the top options. If your team isn't playing, you just get to see touchdowns nonstop. So I am for the college football Red Zone, but it makes it tough because now with YouTube TV they have the multi-box. So the multi-box is in my opinion, a big time game changer. That's just something to be said there. The multi-box, I don't see how you can beat the multi-box because if you have four games, let's say there's four ranked teams playing, you have four ranked games on. Do you really want to go see Western Michigan punch it in against Ball State? That's just what it is, in my opinion. I think it'll be a money grab, but I think if I'm college football, why wouldn't you let the what up, old school? Why wouldn't you let um, the ranked teams take that, and also I would let ESPN have the guinea pig on that. They're about to roll that out, but one of the I got a question on TikTok. I don't know. I think I would. I think I would hang on to CMC. I think they might have a big year. That's just my opinion. I think CMC might have a big year this year because if you go back and look at his history, it's every other year when it comes to that. Um, next topic on the show: which portal quarterback will have the best year? I think this is a very divisive topic. You have Jackson Arnold, Nico, John Mateer, and Carson Beck. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm team Carson Beck on this one. Just my opinion. I think, or not team Carson Beck. I'm team John Mateer, pairing with his offensive coordinator from Washington State. Nico, I've seen a lot of people talk about the Nico thing. The only thing that it comes down to it with the Nico stuff is that he goes to UCLA. I think the talent, AJ McCarron said this on the Coach JB show, why would you leave Heupel's offense? And the talent around Nico was better at Tennessee. So we'll see. Jackson Arnold, I kind of think it's shit or get off the pot for him here at Auburn. Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold are under a ton of pressure because Hugh Freeze pretty much damn near has got to make the playoffs in order to keep the job at Auburn. I don't think 7-5 will get it done. I don't think 6-6 gets it done. And if he starts out to where it's trending to 5-7, I think it'll be off with the old Hugh Freeze down there on the plains. But Carson Beck, you got to see what he looks like after the injury. The Carson Beck arm injury, from everything that's been going on in Miami, they said he's been looking good. So we'll have to see where the bottom falls out. But I think Mateer, being with his old offensive coordinator from Washington, I think he's in the best spot to succeed. So that's just my opinion on that. Carson Beck is probably the be-all, end-all guy that's probably out of these guys got the most to prove because of the way it ended last year at Georgia with the injury and didn't look great, looked bad at Kentucky, looked bad at Ole Miss. Couple of interceptions here and there. So we'll see what John Mateer does. If I had to rank him, I would go Mateer, who I think will have the best years. I think Mateer, Jackson Arnold, Carson Beck, because he's got a little more talent around him. And I think if they run the ball really well there at Miami, I think that'll take a lot of pressure off of Carson Beck. But we'll see. I didn't watch a ton of Georgia last year until it got down to the stretch run of it. Here is ESPN's most important 15 quarterbacks coming into this season. Arch, of course, Gunnar Stockton. Ty Simpson is very, very important. I think that he's going to be the guy. I think that the offense at Alabama is going to take leaps and bounds over what it was last year. I think there was a lot of folks that were real pumped up for Milroe. They seen the athlete that Milroe was, but as far as quarterbacking the offense, it wasn't so hot. I can't believe he got drafted where he did, but we'll see. CJ Carr, again, most of the teams that made the college football playoff are breaking in new quarterbacks. Arch Manning, I would say Arch is new. He's a first-year starter, even though he did start some games. Gunnar Stockton started a playoff game and finished the SEC championship. That's just something that can't be said enough. He started the two of the biggest games of the year, so I think Gunnar Stockton it's very important on his growth going forward. Ty Simpson probably going to be the guy at Alabama. CJ Carr, Notre Dame. But real quick though, if you're watching out there on X, come on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. The big goal for this year on every show is we're trying to get up to 25 likes to try to get through the algorithm to get to the top. Dante Moore at Oregon, Julian Sand. I can't argue with these guys. Julian Sand taking over the helm at the Buckeyes. Ryan Day's talking about the competition is going to go down to the wire, but whatever. I'm not really buying that. Live looking on that. I'm just not buying what Ryan Day's saying about the quarterback battle there, which if you paid attention to Ohio State the last couple of years when they've had a quarterback battle, it's been veiled in secrecy. So whenever they break the huddle for the first time, we'll know who the starter is. Drew Aller at Penn State, another guy that's very important that came back for his senior year. A lot of people are saying that Aller can make all the NFL throws. We'll have to see if he can get Penn State over that hump. Penn State, the proverbial team with no wide receivers, so I think they're going to lean heavy on the run. Aller's numbers might not look as great, but we'll have to see. Cade Klubnik coming back, pretty much been the starter in Clemson. This is a big year for Cade, NFL draft stock wise, I believe. Nussmeier at LSU. A lot of people are high on LSU. I think I'm going to wait and see. We're going to find out a lot about LSU in week one whenever they travel to the other Death Valley that is Clemson at Memorial Stadium. And then Carson Beck, number 10 on this list, but I think Carson Beck's got to have a bounce back year to try to get to the proverbial where he wants to go in the NFL. Lenora Sellers, South Carolina. There's a lot of pressure on Beamer there. I think South Carolina thinks they are a playoff team. There's a lot of hype and a lot of excitement. They got Dylan Stewart. So I think Lenora Sellers, could he take the next step? We'll have to see. DJ Lagway at Florida. Billy Napier in the pressure cooker. I don't know if you watched any of the SEC show. They were all over Billy. The fans were calling Billy a bum and all kinds of calling him out of his name. So we'll have to see. But I think Billy weathered the storm. And if Lagway comes into the season healthy, and I believe Graham Mertz got drafted too. So we'll have to see how that whole thing pans out for all those folks there, but that's just something to keep an eye on down there in Gainesville. I think Florida they could take the next step in on the way to trying to become a playoff team. John Mateer, I think that he's way too low on this list because I think the pilot light is lit in Oklahoma, and I think it is hot because I think Oklahoma, their expectation coming to the SEC was going to be, hey, we need to win now. Marcel Reed, yeah, at the very bottom, I think it's very important for Texas A&M and Marcel Reed to keep it rolling here. That's just something that I find very fascinating. Texas A&M trying to get over the proverbial hump to get to the college football playoff. There's a lot of teams on this list that have never made the college. Well, Texas, yes. Georgia, yes. Alabama, yes. Notre Dame, Oregon, Ohio State. The only team that hasn't made a playoff on this list is Miami, South Carolina, Florida, and Texas A&M. They are all crabs in a bucket trying to get to the college football playoff. But speaking of LSU and some of the things that have been going, here's a comment from Marcus Spears. I think this is very true when it comes to what is going on down there in Baton Rouge. I think that, the Browns scored another touchdown. But I think that, looking at the Brian Kelly tenure, they've got to really get it going. I think this is his best year. I mean, they lost Bryce Underwood in recruiting. It's just one of those things that I believe they've got to get it going down there in Baton Rouge. I think that Brian Kelly, the pilot light is lit. I don't think they've turned up the heat just quite yet, but I don't think he's real thrilled with the progress either. They just got to get to where they need to be on that end of it. And I can say I don't blame him for, the outburst at the USC game last year. But a lot of people say that Brian Kelly comes off as fake. The comment in the SEC show in the very first episode where he says, well, I think being around politicians really helped me. Not a good look in my humble opinion. I think that a lot of people want to see what this team is going to be. Nussmeier coming back, so I think it's very, very important on that end of it. The Panthers rolling with Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, got that cranked up and going. Speaking of Carolina, we'll hop to this really quick. Bill Belichick orders the old school uniforms from back in the 80s for North Carolina. With them being a Jumpman school, I think it's kind of important that they come back and pay some of the homage to the old school. I think that that's one of the positive things that Bill Belichick's going to do as far as doing the college football head coach thing. I kind of like that. UNC going back to the old school look. They pretty much, I would say, they're number one priority on the Jordan Brand's list. So I think that is something to be said there. Do I think that it's a be all end all? Some of the fans will probably like it. Some of the old school fans will probably like it. That's just something that Bill Belichick is bringing into the North Carolina program. I think is outstanding to pay homage to the guys that played there before. And speaking of history, but real quick, if you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube and join the conversation. Hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this channel. That is something that we're trying to do. We're trying to keep it going, and that's just what it is. But we will be live streaming games all year. That is something that we're going to do. We'll have the Alabama game. There's a big contingency. Carter's out right now. He is on vacation. The other half of the duo here, Richie, is also on vacation. Both guys go on vacation at once. Imagine that. But we've got that planned. I don't know how much those guys will be on the lives, but it'll be me mostly taking it on. But we're only going to be doing the big games, or if there's a game with big implications. Got the 2 TV set up, so we'll be streaming, watching games all day on Saturday. So with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications if you want to get informed on what we're doing over here at the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. So we will have all of that planned out and ready to go for this season. So with that being said, we'll move on to this topic. The college football's best non-quarterbacks of the past 25 years. This is an unbelievable list, in my opinion. I think that I think that Reggie Bush being number one, I think there's no argument there. Travis Hunter, two, don't see it. But really interesting, Ndamukong Suh, three. He was very dominant at his time at Nebraska. Ndamukong Suh was drafted really, really high, had a pretty good NFL career. I don't know if he'll make it in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's got the sack numbers. Adrian Peterson, another college football legend. Ed Reed, Devontae Smith. Devontae, I believe he's the last besides Travis Hunter, he was the last non-quarterback to win the Heisman going in. And Brock Bowers. Great tight end at Georgia, and a lot of people wanted to say that was kind of what how Carson Beck had a little bit of a fall off there. Larry Fitzgerald, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, just great running backs, a wide receiver. Joe Thomas makes the list, and Terrell Suggs, Troy, obviously great. Two pick guys on here, Aaron Donald as well. So I think that is a pretty solid list. Manti Te'o of Notre Dame, Devin Hester's on there, Michael Crabtree, a lot of great legends from back in the day, especially from when I was growing up and watching college football. Chase Young, not had the greatest NFL career, but kind of bounced around a little bit. But yeah, that's just one of those things that we had going there. So, but yeah, that's a pretty good topic and a pretty good argument for any day of the week, really. I think that, one of the guys that would be one of my all-time favorites on the list. I think I'd have to go with probably Ed Reed. Ed Reed was unbelievable in college. I think you could make the argument he could be higher. Clowney had that huge hit. Aiden Hutchinson of Michigan Elk. So just some great legends there. I mean, number one, number two, Heisman Trophy winners. And I think people could make the argument that Ndamukong Suh could have won the Heisman when he was in college. I would field that argument, to be honest with you. No defensive player besides a two-way player has won the Heisman. Travis Hunter, and I just had it. It was two-way player. Travis Hunter and Charles Woodson. They really don't have Charles Woodson on this list? Even though I'm not advocating for Michigan, but no Charles Woodson on this list. He won the damn Heisman, and he was a non-quarterback. How is Charles Woodson not on this list? That's kind of unbelievable. If I was a Michigan fan, I'd be kind of pissed. Charles Woodson definitely deserves to be on this list. So, with that being said, my kid is going crazy in the house right now. So, but we'll turn to a little bit of recruiting here if I can get this thing pulled up. The top DB classes, these are the guys that Notre Dame has signed, Texas A&M, and Alabama. I think that all three of these programs, I believe, are top 10 across the board in all recruiting rankings. I think Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman have a criteria that they're looking for in the defensive backfield. I mean, we looked at it last year. They're 1 and 2 deep. We're all juniors and sophomores. So a lot of those guys are coming back and they're going to replenish the crop. I think one of the big things for Alabama is that they lost so many guys when Saban retired and they had to kind of put the pieces together last year. So I think DeBoer and Alabama are going to be really good on defense this year. I would not be shocked if Kane Womack if teams start sniffing around Kane Womack, and I'm talking big major programs, in my opinion, if I was somebody that was going to hire, and maybe the Plains, who knows? We'll see if Hugh Freeze doesn't get it done. That'd be a tough move, but I believe it's only 90 miles from Auburn to Tuscaloosa. So I think that, a lot of these guys were probably maybe the Singleton kid out of Ohio. Can't believe Texas A&M came into Ohio and stole a kid, but that's been kind of happening here at in the Midwest for a little bit of the longest time. We'll change gears a little bit and read off what ESPN's got in the on their headlines, pretty much leading it. Garrett Nussmeier, I guess, whatever they were saying, suffered a huge injury. A lot of people were reporting that. LSU has came out and said he's dealing with patellar tendonitis, so he's got a knee issue. We'll see how bad that is. Ryan Day again says the quarterback battle's going down to the wire. I'm not buying that with $1. So those are some of the things that are going on in college football right now. Let's just look at the little ESPN top. It says the 40 most important players in college football in 2025. Arch Manning, number 1, no bias there. Gunnar Stockton, Ty Simpson, Julian Sand. Although I kind of went over this list. Austin Simmons makes the cut at 15 at Ole Miss. I find that interesting because the first 15 guys on their most important 40 players are all quarterbacks. And then it goes Antonio Williams and TJ Moore. It's just kind of one of those things. Zachariah Branch comes in at 20, although I think he's way more important than people think. Haynes King and Diego Pavia right there. Jeremiah Smith is only 24th and Caleb Downs 25th. I think Ohio State might have two of the best players in college football. And then you got Ryan Williams coming in at 27, Christian Gray, Leonard Moore is where that is at. So give me 1 second. Apologize for that. I'm trying to get rid of this damn cricket, but that is kind of what it is as far as Miller Moss 31. I think Miller Moss will have a pretty solid year. Sawyer Robinson, it's kind of Jake Retzloff. He is at Tulane. I find that very interesting. The whole BYU debacle and things of that sort. So that's where we're at on that end of it. And then some interesting comments coming from Rich Rod here. Sometimes our guys don't even realize they're being soft. But yeah, Rich Rod calling the team soft here early. I don't know if we're sending a message, what type of message we're sending, but apparently Rich Rod has banned the TikTok dancing. He's came in and taking the program back to an old school feel, in my opinion. That's kind of the way I look at it, and I think it's good. Rich Rod's coming in there. I think some of that is kind of where he's looked at it and thought to himself, man, we got to get this under control. And then here's another comment. There's versions of going hard and ours hasn't quite measured up. I think that's a very interesting comment from Rich Rod. But there is that, and then we'll go to one of the last things here before I get everybody out of here. Most impactful non-quarterbacks draft order. I don't disagree with this at all. That's just something that we got going here. I think Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs are probably the best two players in college football. But with that being said, we're going to get everybody out of here early tonight. Hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this show. We'll be back Saturday night on Steel City at about 6:50. Going to do a watch along to watch the Steelers game, and that is what we got going. So with that being said, everybody have a good Friday night. Be safe. Get an Uber if you need one.